This video, we will see some theoretical details about the Power App Component Framework, and in the upcoming videos, we will see some demo or examples of the PCF. So, what is PCF Component Framework? So, the PCF Component Framework, it enables the developers or the users to create the new code component which you can use it into the model driven apps and the canvas apps to interact with the data or see the data in the different visualization format. So examples, if you're having one field called whole number data type which can accept only the number field, but you can convert that field visualization as a slider or range where you can set the value bus just by dragging and the components control there, and then you can visualize the data as per the range there, so that you don't have to see value as a number, but you can have the visualization as a type of range. So this is where the custom components are used to enhance the visualization and the data interaction with the different fields and the grades. So when it was introduced into the Power App, so when the unified interface was released, after that, the in the release version of April 2019, it was introduced as a preview feature, and later on the October release of 2019, it made general available to all the Power Apps. So then, question is like how it loads this PCF. So when we integrate the PCF to the forms or the pages, that time whatever the form context we get, so it passes the form context to the PCF, and PCF uses those form contexts to manipulate or operate on the data and render that data into the different visualization format how we design it. So the rendering part of this PCF is almost similar to what the native fields or the forms it loads. So the rendering is seamless. You will not feel lagging when loading the PCF component. The advantage of PCF is that you can reuse it to the different format like tablet forms, and you can distribute this PCF into the different environment or the app sources also. You can build your own component and put into the app sources. So, like now, where it is being used. So this graph are just simply drawn where we are having the Power Platform, where it has the different services on the Power Platform. Where the in the Power Apps, this is where the development of the PCF involves, where we have the model-driven apps and the Canvas app. So on the model-driven apps and the Canvas app, we use the PCF. We do not have the capability of the PCF for the Power BI, Power Automate. Obviously, Power Automate cannot, and then Power Pages and the virtual agent. So only for the Power Apps we have the Power App Component Framework. Moving further, what are the advantages of the PCF? So there are several advantages. I have included few here. So one is the it involves the component lifecycle management, where it has the life cycle like initializations, then update, and then you can get the data, and then you can destroy this. So it has the entire life cycle of the component when it loads on the form or the pages. The integration is obviously seamless, and also you can include the several API calls like the create, update, and delete. Those services API call you can use here. Then, since the development involves with the help of React and native React or the Node.js we use here to develop the component, so it uses the modern web practice because if you see most of the web applications are with the help of Node.js what are developed, so it uses that practice. So the development part of those components involves with those practice. So it is better with the latest components because here we can use different UI components here. So those are the latest components which are running into the market. So we can infuse here and you can use it. So it uses the latest modern web practice and the components into the tool. Also, it optimizes the performance the rendering part. It is similar, it loads same as a context of the form. So unlike the other components, it takes time to load. It loads immediately because of the components load at the same time. So it basically does not give the lagging or any performance issue when or loading the PCF component. We can make the PCF as a solution file. Basically, when we export from, like in the we are having dev environment, we export the solution package from the dev to deploy into the QA or the production. So same way, we can create the solution file for the PCF and we can import into the file instances. So uh, deployment of the PCF is very easy, similar to the what we are having in the Power App component. Power App solutions, how we deploy the similar to that, these components also we can manage and deploy. Also, it is reusable because obviously once you can develop, so example, you develop the PCF for the whole number field, so you can apply that PCF to the any whole number field wherever it is applicable in your Power Apps, any table, any forms you can you reuse it. So usually part, this is where it has the more advantage. And also you can distribute this component to the other vendors, so they can install your package and they can use it. So this is where some advantage of the PCF. So there is some limitation also as of now. So the it works only with the unified interface, the latest modern interface in the Power Apps. What we see, it works with that, and the legacy interface. If you remember the when we had the long time before 2016, before that means 2016, when before of that there was the legacy web client we were using. So if you are having any applications which is using the old legacy web client, then you cannot use the PCF there. Also, it is not supported for the on-premise environment. Currently, this PCF is only applicable for the cloud versions of the Power Apps. So this is the some advantage and limitation of the PCF. Moving further, so when you develop the PCF, so where you can apply the PCF. Currently, the PCFs are applied only the two types. One is the field for the field, another is for the data sets. Field in the sense the columns of the table. So here the several type of columns we have, like the whole data types of the column, like they are a whole number, the floating points, then decimals, then single line text, multi-line text. So those are the different data types of the fields. So for those fields, we can develop the PCF. So the when you use the field type template, then the purpose of your PCF should be to interact with the one specific field like text or date picker or number or drop downs like option sets and those things. Basically, it used to typically bound the data into the particular value, and when you change the value, it will update the visualization of that data of the value. So basically, when you are having the bound type of interactions to the one field, we use the field type template. And the most of the common components developed for the field types are like the radio button, input boxes, toggle buttons, rating, etc. Some of the examples we will see for the field type in the upcoming video. Then we are having the data set. So basically, this type of template we use when we want to uh, convert the visualization of the multiple records, like basically the grades or subgrids we have right on the forms. So those subgrids, if you want to change into your own format, on design or visualization with the custom buttons and all. So the that conversions when we do, so that time we will select the dataset type of template and we develop the PCF for the same. So basically, when we are having a requirement for PCF to manipulate with the multiple records of the entity, that time we'll go for the dataset. And the common components like the custom grid we develop, the charts, maps, and calendar, and the timelines, changing of those visualizations, we use the dataset type of templates. So after that, moving next, what makes the custom components? So when you develop the custom components, it will have the few important component. One is the manifest file. So this manifest file gives the definitions of the several things of the your component, like the name, the version of the component, the property, the feature which you are using, and the any resources if you have included the external files like a TypeScript or JavaScript file or the images, anything you include, those you can add into the manifest file. Next is the implementation. So in the implementation, we include the code components we will have the TypeScript where we write the different functions or the interfaces or basic logics of the code, how you should interact, how we build the HTML components, what we build for the interaction, right? So those development and the functionality we will write into the main implementation file. Then we have the resources, so we can have the external resources, and those resources we will link to the manifest, and the external resources you can add into your project like CSS or JavaScript or the images etc you can include. So these are the main important I would say the components which we use into the PCF for developing any PCF component. Okay, and there's a when we develop any component, there is a life cycle of that one. Like it goes through the life cycle, so that the data which is loaded or getting changed, it processes that life cycle. So we'll have the different events for that to control what to do on that, and change the visualization or update it, or if you want to add some functionality you can control it and use it. So when you initialize the project, you will have the four functions automatically created. One will be the init. It will be initialized project. We have to update it. It requires to be changed. Then we are having the update view. Basically in it we'll initialize the HTML component, HTML visualization, like basically the tree structure of the div or the tags, right, of the HTML tags. We'll structure it, and then some functionality or the data which we want to default at the initialization time to be set, we do that one. Once it is done, then it calls the update view. Basically it renders your data into the output, like how the user is looking to that and what value it has. So this function also we need to update. Then there is a get output function. This is optional. Suppose if you are having the bound kind of type, like when you are setting the value to the particular field, that time we get the output. We have to get the output from that field and pass it to the server, like the Power App host server, where it will validate the value is right or wrong, and then it can render back the data to the user interface. So that time get output is the optional to, like if you're using bound type, you have to use it. If you don't want to get any update to be done, then you can ignore this method to be modified. Then there is a destroy method. So like when the components are loaded, it has rendered everything it hasn't done. Then you can delete or remove or destroy these components so that it will not lag anything further if it is lagging, or if it will not consume more memory to use it. So for that purpose, we will destroy the components or the HTML component what we create. So this life cycle is like when we first time reload, when we do, then constructor will be called. This is the empty constructor. It will initialize the class of the component, and then it will it will call this initialize function, and that will initialize the DOM skeleton of the control here, and then it will call the property change value to set the data if it is refreshed. If you are changing some value to that, suppose you change some value into the field, then it will call this notify output change method automatically as soon as it is changed, and this will notify framework that some value has been changed. And when this value change happen, then it will get the value using the get output method from that field, and then send it to the host server, and then it calls the update view to render the updated value. So if you see this diagram of the life cycle, so when it starts, it calls the initialize method here. It initialize the our PCF component, and this is the component where the framework is built. So this framework is the PCF framework, and this is our component what we have built. So it will notify, it will get, after the initialization, it will initialize the component, and then it will use the update view from this framework to get the render value to the component here. Suppose some user interaction happened, they have changed it, so it will again initialize the component, notify the framework that some changes had happened. It will notify the host, that your Power App server, and if the value is right, like the component value which is entered, if it is right value, it will accept that value. The different, suppose if it is a number type, and if you are entering the string, so it will not accept that value, right? So in that case, it will return the error. So those validations will happen at the CRM or the Power App server side. So those acceptance, it will be done. Once it will accept that output, what was entered into the value, it will update the framework, and it will tell that you can render the value to the component. So like that, if it is getting some error due to some not valid data enter into the field or the data set, then it will give the error to the framework that the value is not right. It has accepted, it will not accept it, not to be saved onto the server, and then that error will be displayed to the user interface. So this is how the life cycle of the any component works in the PCF. So I hope the you understood very high level. If you are a beginner, you would, and you will get some idea what is the PCF and how we use into the Power App component framework. So in the next video, we will see the creation of one of the component. And thank you for watching this video, guys.